Derek Robertson begins a new crime adventure in Gotham as Batman is hot on the tail of a mysterious Russian villain who has come to Gotham with a new type of deadly gas that he is trying to sell to the highest bidder, with all of Batman's greatest rogues and villains bidding for a chance to destroy the city with the toxic fumes. Derek Robinson is no stranger to the world of Batman or dark storylines, being the co-creator of The Boys and Transmetropolitan, and here that comes through wonderfully as he sets up his first part of his crime mystery and Batman tracking down a dangerous new foe. I love how it lived up to the name of the book, being Legends of the Dark Knight was once a very popular Batman anthology, and this looks to be following that same route. But here we have the legend being told by Gordon to some rookie cops. It's a neat little framing device that I hope isn't just in this first story and something that actually continues through each issue and each storyline, since I think it would be quite cool to see it from different perspectives, from Gordon, from Alfred, even some villains would be great. Derek also pulls Judy as the artist on the series, being that's what I think a lot of people know him for, and his work perfectly fits the dark streets of Gotham and Batman menacing criminals from the dark. His Batman design is also a favourite of mine since I've always loved the slightly larger utility belt he often wore in the 80s and 90s, and that's something that Derek brings back here. Legends of the Dark Knight issue 1 was a great beginning to the overall story that writer-artist Derek Robertson is aiming to tell, setting up a threat to the city Batman has to deal with, as well as a fun way to tell the legend through Gordon's recounting of it to some officers. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. Legends of the Dark Knight issue 1 finds Jim Gordon lighting the bat signal, told by Sergeant Logan that the hero doesn't look like he's coming again. Gordon thanks him for the coffee he brings him as Jim ponders over the 3 days they have been after the gas mask killer and there's been no sign of Batman. Logan says that the last time they saw Batman, they were answering a call from the dock's security where shots were heard from. When the cops arrived, Batman was already on the scene investigating the shipping container filled with dead Gotham goons. Batman, while recognizing some of them, notes that some of them aren't ones he knows, making them out to be Russian military, and the gas tank that was in the container with them was deliberately shot. He tells the cops to stay away from the gas as he takes off into the night, knowing that this seems to be a double cross and someone has some gas to sell, making him think about his rogues gallery and how any one of them could have done this, being that they use gas in one way or another in their arsenals. Bruce knows that he's already gone 38 hours without sleep, but he can't rest now since poison could end up in the hands of one of his rogues. He knows that if the gas is on the streets, he'll have to go looking for them there. He gets the jump on some criminals in a Gotham alley, demanding answers from them, as Gordon remembers how the first arrests were made not too long after that, at Gotham's abandoned zoo, where Batman was as well. At the zoo, Batman watches the Penguin waiting for his contact, who hasn't arrived yet. Oswald isn't too happy that they are late, not feeling comfortable out in the open like that, as a gas mask wearing villain arrives, apologizing for keeping the villain waiting. Oswald gets down to business as the man says Penguin's reputation precedes him, wanting him to leave his deadly umbrella on the ground. Oswald agrees, but the man's goons have to put their guns down as well. The villain's men do so as he reveals that he has a special weapons grade form of sarin gas that is highly adaptable and quite deadly. Oswald finds that interesting, but wonders if he's meant to just take the villain's word on how good it is. The villain decides to demonstrate it, gassing one of his own men, showcasing that the gas disrupts the nervous system and is 500 times more toxic than cyanide and will suffocate the man by paralyzing their lung muscles. The man begins bleeding from his nose and mouth, vomiting as he passes out on the floor and suffocates. The villain says without the antidote, it will kill in a matter of moments. Oswald wants to know how much they have, so the gas mask villain says they have plenty, for the right price that is, and he has already given samples out to some other of Oswald's colleagues, like the Clown Man, who made a generous offer. Suddenly, the villain's case is frozen by Mr. Freeze, who says that he and Oswald's agreement was that they would be doing this together. Yet here Penguin is alone. Oswald says that it's nothing personal and he wanted to get a jump on the competition as Victor blasts his goons, freezing them in place as the gas mask villain and Penguin try to escape. Mr. Freeze soon corners Penguin, but before he can freeze the villain, Batman's grapple gun is fired through the freeze gun, disarming Victor. Penguin fires on Batman with his umbrella, knowing that the night keeps getting worse, but Batman thinks the night is still young as he smashes Oswald in the face. Later, Jim finds Mr. Freeze and Penguin tied up as Batman tells him about the big supply of sarin gas that is in the city, wanting a good supply of antidote to be ready in case any of his villains get their hands on it. Batman knows the dealer has a gas mask and a Russian accent, but they slipped away before he could get them after dealing with Penguin and Mr. Freeze. But he had heard that Joker has gotten himself some of this gas, wanting the cops to scour the docks down in Amusement Mile. Batman rushes off to do what he can as Gordon orders the Gotham CDC to be contacted, since they have an emergency on their hands. In the present, Gordon tells Logan that later that night they got a call from SWAT on Amusement Mile. The SWAT team breached the warehouse, responding to an alarm that went off, entering the building and hearing laughter. The cops go deeper in, soon coming across Joker and his army of clown puppets. Glad the cops have arrived, since now they can have some real fun.